Just when you thought things couldn't get worse for Rudy Giuliani, the disgraced former mayor of New York City is now being sued by his own lawyer, Robert Costello, for $1.36 million in unpaid legal fees. So if you thought that Giuliani had financial issues before, that's going to seem like vacation compared to this. According to NBC's reporting of the lawsuit, Costello's legal services began around November 2019 and continued through July of this year. The legal services provided by the firm included early representation in what became the election interference cases in Georgia and Washington, D.C. The total bill was for over $1.5 million, only $214,000 of which Giuliani actually paid off. But hey, I'm sure Giuliani's getting plenty of financial assistance from the guy responsible for all of these schemes at the heart of these legal bills. Although, maybe not. Turns out that according to the New York Times, Giuliani's lawyer made overtures to the Trump team to pay up, which didn't work. Then Giuliani himself went to Mar-a-Lago to make a personal plea, which also didn't work. And ultimately, Andrew Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani's son, ended up at Trump's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, at which point Trump promised to attend some fundraisers for the legal bills. And even though those appearances certainly didn't do the trick, considering Giuliani is still $1.4 million in the hole, I'm sure Rudy appreciated the massive effort put forth by the purported billionaire who he destroyed his life in service of. And let's be clear, this isn't even close to the only legal bills that he's contending with right now. He's also dealing with a $10 million lawsuit that was filed by a former associate named Noelle Dunphy, who alleged that Giuliani harassed her and discussed with her the sale of presidential pardons, which, knowing Giuliani and Trump and the high regard in which they hold the office of the presidency, surely that can't be right. Surely. Giuliani is also dealing with a defamation case brought by Georgia poll workers Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, in which the judge has already ruled against him. We're still awaiting a trial date to determine the amount of damages that Giuliani will have to pay, but he's already been ordered to pay $90,000 in attorney's fees for Moss and Freeman. And by the way, the fact that Giuliani lost this defamation lawsuit isn't exactly surprising. He actually conceded in court that he, quote, does not contest that the assertions he made about Freeman and Moss orchestrating some scheme to manipulate the vote count in Georgia, quote, were false. His court filing went on to say defendant Giuliani concedes solely for the purpose of this litigation that defendant Giuliani made the statements of and concerning plaintiffs. He does not dispute for the purposes of this litigation that the statements carry meaning that is defamatory per se. In other words, he admitted to defamation in a defamation case. So of course he forfeited that case, what with there quite literally being no defense. And then of course there's the Fulton County trial, in which Giuliani is one of the 19 co-defendants. And to be honest, the money will hardly seem like a problem because Giuliani may very well end up spending the rest of his life in prison. I'd venture to guess that he'd probably be less concerned about how to pay for his attorneys and more concerned about ever seeing daylight again. Although I'd argue that that's something Giuliani perhaps could have considered before hitching his wagon to that of a notorious criminal. And just for posterity here, because Rudy is of course framing this as some political witch hunt in the vein of his deity, let's not forget why Giuliani is facing these charges. He spearheaded Trump's efforts to compel state lawmakers in Georgia and other states to ignore the will of the voters in favor of appointing fake slates of electors who would cast their ballots for Trump. He created fake paperwork in the appointment of those false slates of electors and pressured those people to violate their oaths of office in doing so. He made fake statements and solicited false testimony, and he admitted that he lied about those two high-profile Georgia election workers, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, for which he's currently contending with that aforementioned defamation lawsuit. And all of this was in furtherance of Trump's efforts to steal the 2020 election. So when he trots out this tired refrain that he was fighting for justice, just know that the way to fight for justice is not by appointing fake slates of electors to illegally replace the slates of real electors while destroying the lives of honest, hardworking poll workers for the crime of doing their jobs. And again, of all people who should and do know better, Giuliani's at the top of that list. And by the way, just to show the impact that Giuliani's actions have had on actual people, listen to this testimony by Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, and keep in mind that this was the attorney for the most powerful person in the world scapegoating these two poll workers because he was that desperate to cry fraud to find a justification to undermine the presidential election. And he decided that destroying the lives of these two women doing their patriotic duty was a price that he was willing to have them pay.
Ms. Moss, can you describe what you experienced listening to former President Trump attack you and your mother in a call with the Georgia Secretary of State?
I felt horrible. I felt like it was all my fault. Like, if I would have never decided to be an elections worker, like, I could have done anything else, but that's what I decided to do. And now people are lying and spreading rumors and lies and attacking my mom. I'm her only child. Going to my grandmother's house. I'm her only grandchild. And my kid. It's just, I felt so bad. I just felt bad for my mom, and I felt horrible for picking this job and being the one that always wants to help and always there, and never missing out one election. I just felt like it was my fault for putting my family in this situation.
Well, it wasn't your fault. Your mother was kind enough to come speak with us earlier. Let's listen to her story in her words.
My name is Ruby Freeman. I've always believed that when God says that he'll make your name great, but this is not the way it was supposed to be. I could have never imagined the events that followed the presidential election 2020. For my entire professional life, I was Lady Ruby. My community in Georgia, where I was born and lived my whole life, knew me as Lady Ruby. I built my own business around that name, La Ruby's Unique Treasures, a pop-up shop catering to ladies with unique fashions. I wore a shirt that proudly proclaimed that I was, and I am, Lady Ruby. Actually, I had that shirt on. I had that shirt in every color. I wore that shirt on Election Day 2020. I haven't worn it since, and I'll never wear it again. Now I won't even introduce myself by my name anymore. I get nervous when I bump into someone I know in the grocery store who says my name. I'm worried about who's listening. I get nervous when I have to give my name for food orders. I'm always concerned of who's around me. I've lost my name, and I've lost my reputation. I've lost my sense of security, all because a group of people, starting with number 45 and his ally, Rudy Giuliani, decided to scapegoat me and my daughter, Shay, to push their own lies about how the presidential election was stolen.
If that doesn't break your heart, then you might not have one. And at this point, I know you're probably just thinking, look, Giuliani may be broke, but the guy's a lawyer, and lawyers make some serious money, so maybe just take a few cases and fill those coffers back up. Yeah, not so much. In July, a disciplinary panel from the DC bar recommended disbarment for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. So something tells me he's not going to be seeing the inside of a courtroom too much, except, of course, while defending himself. And I'd venture to guess that that's not going to be very enjoyable either. But surely, this whole saga has woken Giuliani up to his corrupt ways and made him recognize that he's probably not being well served by continuing this misguided effort, right?
Well, I'm going to Georgia, and I'm feeling very, very good about it because I feel like I'm defending the rights of all Americans, as I did so many times as a United States attorney. People like to say I'm different. I'm the same Rudy Giuliani that took down the mafia, that made New York City the safest city in America, reduced crime more than any mayor in the history of any city, anywhere. And I'm fighting for justice. I have been from the first moment. I represented Donald Trump, an innocent man who has now been proven innocent several times. I don't know how many times he has to be proven innocent, and they have to be proven to be liars, actually enemies of our republic, who are destroying rights, sacred rights. They're destroying my right to counsel, my right to be a lawyer. They're destroying his right to counsel. It's not accidental that they've indicted all his lawyers. Never heard of that before. In America, all the lawyers indicted. Now, whether you dislike or you like Donald Trump, let me give you a warning. They're going to come for you. When the political winds shift, as they always do, let us pray that Republicans are more honest, more trustworthy, and more American than these people in charge of this government. Because if our government is conducted this way, and the system of justice is politicized and criminalized for politics, your rights are in jeopardy and your children's. Donald Trump told you this. They weren't just coming for him or me. Now they've indicted people in this case. I don't even know who they are. These are just regular people making a normal living. They're going to bankrupt them. They won't convict them.
Yeah, he might be well served by a little more remorse and a little less delusion, although at this point, I don't see either one of those things budging. So we'll await Giuliani's fate both on the financial front and on the justice front, but it's worth noting that no punishment will ever compensate for the damage that this one man has wrought, both on individuals like Noel Dunphy and Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, and on democracy more broadly. So while Rudy leans on his past as a prosecutor, just remember that that doesn't absolve him, but rather proves that of all people, he should know better, and he should know what happens when people like him commit the crimes that he committed. And in case he forgot, he's about to find out pretty damn soon. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to this channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.